telling Zoom to commence the live on YouTube button. Let's see, are we? Yep, according to Zoom, we are now live on YouTube. So, although on my other screen we are not live yet, so I guess it'll be a delay.
Did you type in something in the thing?
Oh yes, I sure did. Oh, there it is. We're up. All right. I just wanted to make sure that it.
We're live.
Yep, I'm going over to make sure to make a little announcement over there so that in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
My name is Sheila. It is Thursday, February the 4th, 2021. And so the Gal Pal Posse, Lisa Flamino Rush, and BZ Rieger have gathered again this evening. BZ, you came up with, well, I just called it an experiential play session based on your words. So you want to tell everybody what happened, how this all came about while I go over and make sure we can chat over in the live portion?
Sure. Well, there's so many things happening so fast, or so many things not happening near fast enough, or happening in the wrong direction, or wait a minute, that's not this and that and the other thing. And right on top of that, superimposed, there are so many new things building up and in pre-matter form that are just, to use a linear term, just itching, just can't wait to come in and pop into physical manifestation. So it's really easy to be knocked one way or the other, or flattened one way or the other, or with excitement or with dishevelment, or so I guess for a moment when I was doing some work on my own, I tapped into a lot of people who were feeling that. It's kind of was going like this. And also feeling a lot of beings who were trying to connect, but they were connecting from here in the cerebral part, and more of the linear cognitive wiring synapse functions, rather than actually the attunement functions throughout the body. So as I was playing with that for myself, I had the thought, well, hey, might not be a bad idea if we all played with that just live. And for me, I was particularly fascinated because I want to see what other things people are coming up with and how they leap. They're on one thing and they leap to this and they leap to that. Kind of like you're saying the fantastic, because that was what I had started on my own playing with. So from a personal point of view, that's where I wanted to go. But anyways.
Oh, I see. So this is not just experiential, it's also experimental. It's fair to say too, right?
Could be, yep.
Because it's not something I've ever done before. So yeah. I would call it experimental. And now I typed it in the chat. Let me make sure I got it right. I have a piece of citrus fruit, my crystal, any kind of crystal, I suppose. And I also have my rock that I'm cradling in between my 2 feet.
Yep.
Now, was there anything else? Because I know you'd said something about a pet or a plant.
Well, whatever you have handy that's, sentient. So a crystal works for that, or a good piece of fruit, right? Like an apple or citrus of something, or a plant, little house plant, or an Aussie, if there's one walking by,
Oh, okay. So I got things so that I'm well covered then. I didn't know it was a list of things to choose from.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of each.
And the rock for your feet, just as a grounding, because we're going to play with, we've talked a lot about when I will say drop out of your head into your heart. And oftentimes you don't say it as much anymore, but you used to say, well, I don't get that. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that, which is, it's fair because, and so the
Listen,
rock,
to be fair and full disclosure, just because I've stopped asking that question doesn't mean that I fully
no,
understand
I
that
know
at
that.
all.
I know that.
Given moments of now, okay, I just want to make that clear.
Right. And as I said, in between the time I texted you about this and just sitting down here before we started, had I was obviously having a conversation with you about this because I thought, oh well, I could add this in because that would kind of be an experimental way to see this is this and this, this is the head and this is the heart, and but not necessarily telling you that, just doing it. Okay, guys, that's enough. Let's not have too much citrus in our breath here. All right, we'll fire it up.
But mom, it's all rainy today and we didn't get to go out and get our run in.
No, they just got there trotting by the cart. That's all. No run. So, are we ready to play?
Well, I am. I want to welcome a couple of folks that have let us know that they're in the room. Jennifer Brown and Cece has joined us, and Lori Wheeler. Um, Jennifer says she's grabbing her large piece of petrified wood. So Lori said, place the items at our feet. Are you guys going to guess them? No, not no. But hey, that's not a bad idea for another time. Another game we could
I
play.
feel like I need a mirror on a stick.
You want to?
I see a
I know.
wood under you.
I love that. So yeah, if you guys have your items handy and y'all are ready, I'm ready. BZ, are you ready, Lisa?
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. So if you
All
guys
right.
if you have a rock, and if you're watching this afterwards, you can pause it and go find a rock just to put on underneath your feet as a connection there. And if you have a crystal, any kind of crystal or something, or Lisa's got a really beautiful apple, Sheila's got a citrus. So whatever, somebody may have a plant, right? And so one of the things I wanted to say is it's the whole idea is just to playing and experiential. So in my conversation with myself and having, and my soul talking about this, there is some kind of flow to it, but it can, I'd love to have people jump in as we go. So the first thing I want you to do is I'm gonna talk about a bunch of things, and I'd like you to actually listen to what I'm talking about and then go to that space. So however, whatever that means for you, right? And if I'm saying something, I may say, okay, so now do this and then repeat this. And so I'd like you to out loud repeat that. And then we'll kind of just play with it. And it may be about 10, 15 minutes. And we'll see how we go. So there's headlines that there's 7 Iranians that have been captured at the Mexican border, and they happen to be infiltrating, all that kind of stuff. And there's pictures that are putting together a composite where the former White House press secretary may be, the daughter of JFK Jr. And it's interesting that can't think of her first name, Psaki, the new White House press
Jen
secretary,
Psaki.
Jen Psaki, yeah, White House press secretary is, wanting to have the reporters give their questions, and Biden is not taking any answers anymore. President Trump is not going to respond to the questions under oath and so on and so forth, and um, I forget where I was gonna go. There was one other place I wanted to go, which is totally unreal. Dogs sometimes can get carried away and barking when they're playing and biting on each other, right? So now stop with that. And where were you when you were following all of that? there was a part of your body or a part of the cognition side or a part of the flow side or a part of the immersed inside. And there was a feeling that whatever it was would be different for different people that was coming up as you were following all of that. So just notice where that was. Notice, did you actually notice that? What was your sensory perception? What was your cognition perception? What was all of the thread in that? Was there a feeling around you, either within you or kind of a vibe or, those kinds of things? So now what I'd love you to do is I'd like you to take your hand in a gentle way so that your kind of your palm is like this, and I'd like you to take it right by your solar plexus, your high heart, and I'd like you to gently thump. We're going to thump 3 times, and in between each thump, we're actually going to have a breath out. So when you go, as you thump, you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're going to ha. Okay.
Oh, okay. Point of clarity.
What?
Point of clarity. Solar plexus is just below the heart.
I'm
Are
sorry.
you speaking to
The high
thymus?
heart. Yeah, the thymus.
The thymus.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
because you were both up here.
Yeah, I
and
followed
was
her
waiting.
hand.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought so, but for those,
The heart's talking here, the brain is, I don't know where it's talking. Yeah.
That's okay.
I got you, but I just want to be clear.
Yep, right
Thank
here.
you.
Okay, so you're going to thump. Ha.
Ha,
Ha,
Ha. Ha. Okay.
ha.
ha.
So that is bringing you into and in more of a resonance with your feelingness, in your bodiness.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you have played with, as the last question, where you were with the first part of the play experiment that I was talking about, you may or may not have noticed that it shifted where you were. You were in one place, one mode before, and in another mode now.
I apologize. Bear with me just a moment. You know how it is. This phone is smack on time usually.
Yeah.
Okay. Please continue. Or back up actually for me if you don't mind, because I have a hard time splitting my consciousness anymore when I'm very present in one place and my consciousness goes somewhere else, all of it goes, it seems like. And so I know it's there, but if you don't mind repeating it, that'd be wonderful.
Well, I was just we can either repeat it by doing it again or just move on from it. So maybe we'll just move on.
If you don't mind, let's do it again. I'm going to, because this is different than we normally do, I'm going to turn my sound completely off of my my phone so I won't be disturbed, because I do have that issue for myself where my consciousness just cannot be divided anymore in that particular way. Okay, I apologize. Please begin again.
Okay, so we're gonna just we'll do with one breath. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're gonna thump on your thymus. Ha. And feel that within you. And so the question was, when I started before with a list of different kind of headlines, things that were going on, you were experiencing that in one way.
Mhm.
And then we stopped to breathe and shift things. And with the ha breath, which is a way to connect all of you to a more sensory feeling, you may or may not have shifted in a different way. So it was a different experience. And you may not have noticed that it was a different experience if you weren't being present with this experience. So all of that, there's no wrong or right answers. It's all, I'm just putting out things that potentially might be things to notice, might be to go, oh yeah, right? And because it's a way of getting in, one of the things I will say that what before we go on, one of the things that was coming up was a way for people that I was playing with as a way to actually help other people to do it, and then come up with creative ideas for myself as well. Um, with this moments where we're unwinding and unbinding, things are happening fast, and they're tumbling, and sometimes there's big hard rocks that are tumbling, that of awareness or insight or revelation, whatever it is, they're hard or they're sharp or they're big or whatever. And so it leaves people, can leave people disjointed. It can lead them waiting for something out there to say a signal to tell you what's going on, or what's the plan, or all this kind of stuff, or feeling alone, like, oh my gosh, if you've been crazy all this time and you thought that all this was so, and it's really not so, now what are you gonna do, because you're all alone and the world is an even scarier place than you thought it was, possible, right? And so all of this is to say that you're not alone, and that you have your very best friend in the whole multiverses with you all the time. And so this is a way, because it's a free will zone, because you until you commit and turn yourself over to being in an alignment and being a team player, so to say, with your soul as your embodiment form, instead of leading the thing, right? Because that was the part of the experiment, part of the go forth to know source. Until you say, I'm in alignment and I want to be integrated, and my if you're going to divide it for a moment, just for discussion purposes, my little human is no longer leading the show. So until you do that from a free will choice, open-hearted choice, the rest of your team, however you want to describe it, is going to sit back and wherever you're going and whatever you're doing is great. There is no wrong answer, because you and the shirt is the expert for you. Right. So just like we've had conversations, we had some of it the other night, that or last night, that not wanting to wait for somebody else or convince somebody else. Well, it's the same right here in the shirt. You don't have to go look at the brother, the sister, the cousin, the work person, the this, the that, the other thing, right here in the shirt. So anyway, so this was part of that play, that whole experiential experimental play thing, was how to then, from a linear standpoint, although fully immersed in the feeling standpoint, how does one do that? How does one play with it? How does one actually have to use linear words, a cognitive awareness of, oh, okay, I'm talking this, or I can call it up at will, or I can, bring free choice on the table. Does that make sense? That's kind of where I was playing, as a way to how do I play with that, and then bring it forward to play with others, in if they wanted to play with the same kind of thing for their own experience of it.
Yeah, oh, please go ahead, Lisa.
Well, I was just going to say, I really appreciate what you did there. That was kind of interesting, because it took me by surprise, to be really honest. I thought it was going to be different. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I was like, oh, wait a minute, where's she going with that? And so then I just kind of observed, and I was like, okay, so, I didn't see that coming. So I just sort of sat back into it, and I went with it. And I was just like really tracking everything you were saying. And then I was noticing, wow, even the dogs are amping up. Like, this is really, wow, it's juicy. And it made me feel like my body got alerted. I felt sort of physically, like almost fight or flight, really, like I'm ready, like I'm alert and attentive. And then I start to, the longer it went on, right, all of a sudden I'm starting to feel just really a little bit of tightness in my chest, where I want to just kind of go like this. And then it continued. And then I got like no, I wouldn't say a squeeze. All of a sudden, something revved my heart, or all of a sudden, my attention went to my heart. It was going, boom, 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 boom. And I was just like, wow, everything's like, I just felt intense. You know what I mean? I didn't judge it. I just sat with it. I was just sitting there in all this intensity. And then you were done, and I was like, like I felt like I was on on a ride. Okay. Well, when you did the next thing, I was like, oh, thank you. Because I have to tell you, I wanted to go like this during it. And then I wanted to do this, which is something I do. And I just use my 4 fingers and kind of firm. I have asthma, so I've always had sort of upper respiratory move the phlegm response. And this came to me quite naturally. I wanted to do this. And so when you had me do that, and I liked the full fist, ooh, that felt even more powerful. And the hot at the end, I never thought of that. But that also made me want to cough and clear my lungs. Like it felt wonderful. It felt like a release. It gave comfort. And it was something I could do. Like my body felt like I needed to do something just from, I guess, sitting there and listening to your words. Isn't that funny? Taking in, I guess the energetic envelope, if you will.
Well, it's
Because the dogs were playing along too. Thanks, guys. You guys are like so hard. They swirled it up right when I was thinking, wow, this is getting to be something, isn't it? The dogs were like, yeah, man. Anyway, sorry.
Well, okay, so like for me, I have to admit, for the record, when you started speaking at first, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought we were gonna play with something. I don't, now she's giving us the news. What, it's really interesting news, but what are we doing? So for the record, at first I was like lost. You had my attention, and I was sitting up because I was like, oh, like you, Lisa, I was thinking, oh, it's getting juicy, right? She knows some stuff, right? but at the same time, I have this voice in my head going, well, but wait a minute, what are we doing? This is this part of the thing? I don't get it. I right. So then when you did the other part, so what I noticed when I realized what you were doing, and afterward, now comparing the two, and I also paid attention, Lisa, when you were speaking, and you actually, without saying what I was experiencing, you did exactly what my consciousness did. You kept, as you were describing it, as you were talking about how attentive it was, you leaned into the camera, right? You came closer, and that's what I felt my internal consciousness doing. It was peaked. I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is this now? And so that's why I said, when I watched you share your experience, I'm like, oh wow, she's actually even acting out what my consciousness was doing inside my physical vessel. Because then too, with the act of doing this, it was a very noticeable, because I wasn't ready, but had I not been, it would have, because at that point it was a very noticeable pulling me back into the physical body. So where my consciousness had, I won't say halfway exited the building at all, but noticeably my consciousness was right out here in the very front, very present.
Yeah, that was my
like
habit
I said,
too.
so much so that I lost sight of what it was you were doing, and I was focused solely on the information you were giving. So what were you going to say, Lisa?
No, I'm just totally agreeing with you there at the end. Yeah, totally. This was super fun. Thank you.
I haven't done it yet.
Oh, well, did just this.
Which is no, but this is
I love
perfect.
all of this.
So the only part that I've done was actually the bit to give you the juxtaposition between the two, the mental thing, right?
Okay.
The waiting, what's new, what's next, the E.F. Hutton speaking sort of a thing, and then getting back into your body.
Right.
Because and that's fine. That's all perfect. I mean, one of the things was if I do the part that I was actually originally planning to think about doing is it's in your body. And it's actually feeling and tuning in and sensing and reading and hearing, seeing, sensing, feeling, and reading of the communication from you to you, rather than me or any being or a headline or a talking head or whatever to your brain.
Well, awesome. This has been a hell of a lot of fun already, and we haven't even begun. So, okay.
Well, I was
I
just
promise
really
I really
surprised
am
at
here.
how. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lisa.
I was surprised to notice how viscerally my body responds to things. That was really kind of an exciting new. I don't know. It was very interesting for me.
Yeah. Because and I think that juxtaposition again is we're in that very heightened thing, and so one is for you just said you hadn't noticed that, so to notice that can be a very powerful tool, be a powerful tool for exploring and playing with new things, new superpowers. It can be a powerful tool if you've somehow all of a sudden realize that you're feeling anxious or kind of sort of a thing. Well, hang on, I'm running this show, right? So that's part of that whole experiential thing, is that you're driving the boat, or are you?
Right.
Right.
It's either a statement or it's a question, and it's kind of a wimpy question. Or am I? Kind of.
I'm driving the boat.
Right. I don't know how to drive. Right. So does anybody have anything in the chat to say before we go on to actually doing it?
Well, I was gonna say, okay, so a couple folks went and got their crystal, and let's see, Jennifer said I was there watching the dogs play. That was awesome. I came back to my body. I have been super floaty. Then Fawn said, yes, I was enjoying the fur babies in the background. Jennifer felt a vibration in her throat chakra. Fawn said, I felt intense, and then I wanted to play with the fur babies. High Vibe Tribe has joined us. Yeah, if you guys are just joining us and you want to participate, if you have a rock or a piece of petrified wood, like Jennifer Brown is lucky enough to have, or something you can ground your feet on the floor, and then grab a crystal friend or a plant or a piece of fruit, and he's going to walk us through, because apparently we really hadn't even got started yet. Since this is all brand new to me, I was totally lost about where we were and what we're doing. Well,
we're doing it.
I know.
We're doing it.
I'm the kind of gal that you can, I like actually learning. The only way I can learn the rules to a new game is to play it.
Right. And me too. Oh yeah, forget about it. I have to play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only way. This is it.
Well,
we're playing the new games.
So before I go on, what I will ask then is, did anybody get a sense that there was more from either what I was emitting or shaping the energetic envelope to the one that was more in a headspace, and one that was more starting to be in an inner space for each being?
Yeah, that the way you did that though, and the way I felt it, that was very while we give them a chance to answer, because there isn't a delay.
Yeah.
There is for me, I felt very much of a huge difference in the being in the headspace. Like I said, having that feeling of being on my toes, right? And Lisa even said tense, intense. And it was so I would, that's a good classification of that being, oh, I see what we're doing here. On a really huge level. Yes, this is so helpful, BZ. Awesome. Fawn said, I was in a head space and then it moved into my heart space. Yeah, doing that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so that
All
would
right.
I could have said, okay, well, with everything going on, we're in our head space now. Drop out of your head and into your heart. And a lot of people go, "What? What do I do with
Yeah,
that? I don't know
right.
what that
But
means. I don't know how to do that." And right?
wow, this was brilliant.
Yeah, because
Brilliant.
this is super powerful. It's right now. You can use it for anything at any moment. And they're even selling devices that when you are feeling anxious. So obviously,
Right. It's free because it's
people
very
are feeling the energetics and don't know what to do about it or
right.
with it. And so this is wonderful. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, this really is a wonderful thing we're playing with here.
Yeah.
Well, and also, you want to go. I mean, there's been a lot of just kind of put the two together now a little bit from a
Okay.
thinking about it part. So there's been a whole range of different beings have been talking about how or have been the butt of um a lot of a large segment of people who are listening, who are either new to listening about waking up or truth, or from spiritual, from a truth, or from all those levels. and
Mhm.
and so they're now actively awake because they're looking at this weird show going on, going, okay, something's really weird. Now I had some nut job friends who were telling me about this for a while, but I'm even thinking seeing it now, right? But then there was a lot of reaction to fault, blame, didn't go as I had scripted it, or all those kinds of things. And this is an inside job.
Yeah.
This mission that we're on is an inside job. And yeah, you will see tangible, touchable, you know, expandable or constrictable things in response to that, but it's an inside job. And that out there doesn't come first. It comes in relationship to this. So one of the reasons too was a part of this play is that when we look at all of this stuff, so the part where you were feeling, where you were leaning forward and, oh, what's, and Sheila was going, well, wait a minute, she's not going, okay, well, we'll go there. I thought we're, right, is to then say, you can go and turn on or tune into or read or look at or experience, however you're going to meet with it, different sources of information, different things where people are sharing or laying stuff out that you can then take in. But you're taking it in as one, on a buffet of information. It's just one small piece. And the linear with the so the note to self could be, should you choose to play with it that way, is that the linear is just one small piece. And back to your telemetry array, back to you as the expert, back to your knowing, is actually the biggest intel, insider secret, hot off the press, whatever other kind of, things you want to use as your shorthand for it. And the out there ones are just a small part of it. So this is
Yeah,
kind of
see,
play.
that's one of the reasons, BZ, that I really want. It's feels very important on a lot of levels for folks to wake up to the fact that that is, like you said, that's the news above the fold, because that's the most interesting thing. That's actually the plan that's referred to so much on so many different levels, in my view. So yeah.
Yeah. So part of this, I guess I said, this conversation that I was having with myself about this whole playing strictly for me, playing, and then went into the be of service and how to play with others, sort of a thing. And that is, okay, so when someone's because we're in it. Whether you're paying a lot of attention, whole hog attention, riveted attention, heart pounding attention, or just something flies by and you go, oh, I really don't like that, or I'm not going to pay any more attention, right? Because maybe if I don't look, it won't, right? But any way of those shape or form things, it has a very good chance, propensity, vibe into you to make you your heart pounding, and not necessarily in an expansive way, right? It may be in a, your heart is wanting to be free, and what you're letting come into you is not that. So here's a good tool, and wherever you go, there you are. So you always have the tool,
Yeah.
right? To start to notice that you can have a whole team of really, crackerjack intel that has the focus, that is the most important focus for your location, for what is super important to you in your unique situation.
In
And
this
that's you.
moment of now,
Yes.
actionable intel,
You
by the
got it.
way.
You got it.
Yep.
That, and because when we look at different things out there, we say, okay, well, yeah, but what does that actually mean to me, or how are we going to affect it? Or if you're wanting to learn something, you say, well, how do I, right? You don't understand. Okay, well, great. But here you go. This is the answer to you don't understand, because you're the expert on you, and the do not understand us and the wrestling with all that. So that's where you have the play, the conversation, the into all that kind right here. And you can add a few external pieces. You could have, a whole section of them, but that's still of the whole palette, the whole buffet of offerings. The external is just a tiny part. The rest is all from within here. So the play is to put your feet on your rock, and
Check.
and we'll start again. I want you to take it. You're going to use your hand. I want you to take a deep breath in, and when you let it out, thump, ha,
Ha.
and a deep breath in,
Ha.
ha, and one more in, ha.
Ha.
So now I want you to breathe through your feet. And when you're feeling, you can have your eyes closed or eyes open, whatever is comfortable for you. And notice the sensation within your body. What does it feel like? Where is your attention? Where is the feeling? You're actually feeling part of your attention. Is it in the front of your head, or in your up here, up in your head, thinking about breathing through your feet? Or is it dropped down to the location, physical location of your feet, and what they're connected to? And if it had started in one place and moved to another, just note that sensation of, oh, wait, that's a change. And if it always started down in your feet, or always started up someplace else and hasn't moved, then notice that. Now, keep most of your noticing right this moment on breathing through your feet. And feel each part, each section, each quadrant, each nerve, each tendon, each bone within your feet, what it's coming into contact with, what the shape of what it's coming into contact with. All the while, as you're breathing through all the muscles, all the blood, all the skin, all the tendons, all the nerves, all the muscles and fibers of your feet. And continue to breathe. Now connect all of that feeling you just had to whatever it is that your feet are upon as you're breathing. And feel the breath go through whatever they're upon. So is it the rock? Is the rock smooth? Is it flat? Is it round? Is it rough? Is it different feelings? Is it the floor? Is it piece of petrified wood or a footstool or the rug or just regular hardwood floor. And again, now you're breathing through your feet, through whatever your feet are upon, and you're breathing in. And you're feeling that breath. You're feeling the oxygen come up through and oxygenate, enliven all of you, circulating to the top of your head, all around, and you're breathing out. And take your noticing a little bit more, and now you're breathing actually through the floor, through whatever your feet are sitting upon, through the floor, into the ground, into Gaia, into the center, into the heart of Gaia, and feel yourself breathing through all of that. Are you noticing? Are you seeing? Are you sensing? Are you feeling the innerness, the inner eternal essence of Gaia? And what do you feel? What do you notice? Is there anything seeing or sensory array of yours in the air, in the breath from Gaia to you? The energy of Gaia to you that's powering you, that's enlivening you, that's enriching and bringing forth and giving energy and sustenance into you, all the way up through you. And continue to notice that and be that. And now give more of your noticing attention to the out breath. So you're breathing in, and that's from through your feet. You're breathing in, and that's through what your feet are on. You're breathing in, and that's through what your feet are on upon the ground, and then into the ground, and then through the heart of Gaia. Now follow to the other end, so to say, of the breath, the out breath. And notice and be with and feel and use your sensory array and note where the breath is going and where the exhale goes and how it dissipates out. And is it rising up? Do you feel it rising up? Can you direct it to rise up through the crown of your head? So now you're having a connection from the crown of your head through to your feet and beyond to the heart of Gaia. And the crown of your head is going up to the sun, is going up to the galactic central sun. So you now have this radiant tube, this cylindrical fountain of breath, in breath and out breath, from the soul, from the galactic center through to the heart of Gaia. And what do you note? What do you see? What do you feel? In and up and out and connected. And feel all of that through. And continue to breathe. And now feel your awareness, feel your connection to you. So all of you, beyond just in the space where you are, beyond just in the physical vessel in the t-shirt. Feel that. And when that awareness, that ascension awareness, that eternal essence awareness, you could call it your spirit, whatever you hold it as, feel that, feel it come through the back of you, dropping out of a thinking part of your head, down the back of your head, through your shoulder blades, and feel it come right into your heart. All as you breathe in through your feet in the heart of Gaia. Exhale through your top of your crown into the central sun. And feel that awareness, feel that eternal essence of you come, that awareness come through the back, through the center of the shoulder blades, directly into your heart. And continue, so you have a loop. It's a vertical access loop through the crown and out through your feet, and then back through the heart, and it's beaming out now through the heart. And direct that beam to who you would like to connect to on a continual basis. Could be your soul, go right directly to the furthest, widest aperture before you go to source, or a guide, however you want to do it. But you're beaming that connection. And so it's coming, it's a loop that's coming in continually through you. And just let that be connected for a moment and breathing for a moment, flowing for a moment. Let the senses flow for you, the pictures flow, the colors, the knowing, the awareness, the actionable intel, the hot off the press, the directly as it relates to you news and knowing. And continue to breathe. Now pull all of your physical mechanism, your physical vessel, all of your telemetry, start to feel all of that. So you are this magnificent instrument, and now you're playing all of it, aware of all of it, commanding and wielding the joyous creational force of all of it. Feel all of your body, the external, if you thought just the external skin, feel all of that. Feel the different temperatures or reading of something, excitement or calmness, relaxation or just neutrality. And listen to the different qualities of what you may call sound, what you may feel as frequency, vibrational light, perhaps geometric symbols and codes. However you picture your telemetry array, which has different areas, different segments, different monitoring, communication, multiple flow communication, that you can then avail yourself of all of it and continue to breathe. And as you do that now, draw your awareness back out of your feet and just breathe. Draw your awareness back just to sitting in the chair. Draw your awareness out of your heart and into your head. Think about breathing. Think about how the breath flows. Think maybe, is it going through your nose, in and out through your mouth? Think about thinking about breathing. And think about being an experiential thing on a Zoom call. And come back to being in the room.
I hope you don't want any kind of anywhere where anybody's been, because I have no clue, but I weren't here for a goodly part of that.
Everything that anyone has is perfect because they're the expert for them.
Well, but remember how I've shared that there's been times recently where I don't know where it was very much like that one, most recently, even on camera, where I just left with my eyes wide open and had no idea where I went. It was very much that. There was, and I can't recall what you were saying, but there was a moment where I was back in here But what was so wild is that I was actually, even though I kept my eyes closed the whole time, it was like I was sort of seeing you guys, but not, and not using both eyes in my inner vision very clearly, only using my right. Now that was so specific and so
Was it your
wild.
right or was it your third eye?
Well, it was my right eye in my third eye. It wasn't my eye at all, not my
Okay.
physical eye at all.
So I want to ask you to stop for a moment and
Okay.
just drop out of what is your body feeling, sensing right this moment?
Right this moment. Oh, a little dizziness. Um, okay, a lot of dizziness. And I mean, I'm not heightened. My heart's not heightened or
And does
anything
it
like
feel
that.
any difference now than when it did before we started the last part of this?
My body, a little more on the restful side, like I had been resting. Yeah. The need to stretch a little, like I'm just waking up or something, you know what I mean? So it was very restful uh for my physical vessel. It's just
I
it was
think you
very,
got some of your it just gave some of your answer right there. So the physical vessel partook in all of this, got what it needed and chose to get in that moment, and the rest of you was off doing something that you were called to do.
yeah, I
And you
guess
did
so.
it simultaneously. I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't
And
keel over out of the chair, right?
nope.
But so this is what I'm this is part of the play. It doesn't it didn't either. You could either say it went not in the right place or because it goes where it goes because it's
Oh, right.
directed
I have
by
no
each being,
judgment
right?
about it at all.
And but you can also get on many different levels and layers exactly what you need in that moment, and it's mostly taking note of that and um and then like I talked about, one of the other ones is the openness and the release of those things. It's the dancing between the two.
My crystal is buzzing and my hands are a little more active than they were prior to. So I just think it's very interesting, especially now. Lisa, when I said that I was seeing things from my inner eye, but only through my right side, if it were my eyes, because it was very clear to me. But you nodded your head, like, so what did my statement of that mean for you?
Um, I knew what you were gonna say before you say it, before you said it, and it made me laugh. I don't know. I
Well,
knew what
that's
you were
really
gonna
cool
say.
though. That
That you could see us. And I've been having that experience in bed at night. I didn't have it today. But I know what you speak on because I have been I literally had to open my eyes because I was laying in bed looking with my eyes closed and I was, I do a little meditation and, thank the universe for life. And I did that. But at the end, and it's, kind of a thing that I do, it takes a while. And I noticed myself looking at and taking inventory of what was on my bedside table, realizing that my eyes were closed. I was like, wait a minute, my eyes were closed, but I was seeing everything so clearly that I had to open my eyes to make sure that they were closed. Like, wait, maybe they are. I was confused. Are my eyes open or are they closed? Because I literally could see through them. And right before you said it, Sheila, I just saw you doing that, or I felt you doing that. I don't even know what it was, but I knew what you were going to say.
Oh, okay. Well, I remarked as I was saying that, I saw your reaction. I thought, okay, wait a minute, Lisa got something there.
No, but I wanted to say, no, that happens to me too, because I was shown that. I don't know. I just knew.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
That's happened to me quite a lot. And even in shows too. Like, I'll think that I've seen it before because I know it's coming, you know, like I've seen it before. So
So
anyway.
one of the things I'll throw in here, and this was again part of my whole conversation and playing with me and my soul today when this came up, and then I thought, oh well, hey, maybe you guys want to play with this and we can do it,
Yeah.
right? And part of that is when you just said, Lisa, well, that's happened to me before and I can do that. So, or it's happened to me like it happened to you, like you were sitting
Yeah.
there, an innocent
Right.
bystander, and
Well, I wasn't trying. Let's
right,
just say I
right.
accidentally did it.
Except that that's a misnomer. That's
Right.
a not claiming the thing, because if you've been doing that too, or that's happened to you too, it's because you is wanting you to initiate this, but is this thing on? Right? So maybe if we drive by and plunk her in this, she might go, well, wait a minute. What if I turn the camera on from my side? What if I queued up my sensory array from my side? Hey, instead of in the camera truck when you're doing a shoot, give me more camera one, pull in tight. Okay, throw this camera 7. All right, let's have the audio up here, right? Instead of doing that, which is great, now you say, well, what's part of this part of the plan, or what is that being built over there by the White House, or whatever it is? Okay, we'll pull up camera 7. Let me see. I need a closer shot on that. Just like you've said, eyes were closed, you're minding your own business, giving thanks for all this kind of stuff, you're focused here, right, meditating here, and wait a minute, part of me is inspecting with this eyeball over here on the thing. It's a funny kind of a thing, but it's my sense is, and my knowing is, that it's our sensory array, just the way I describe it, whatever works for you, but is saying, hey, we can do all this. You're wanting to know, you're wanting to I need to have give me the skinny, what's going on here, right? And you got this whole sensory array. Dial up that camera, or that telemetry, or that sit rep, or whatever it is, because you're connected. We're either singularity and all, or we're not. And if we're all, then we have access to all of the cameras. Just a thought.
No, I love that. So what did
I
happen for
play
you,
with that one a
Lisa?
lot.
So what did happen for you, Lisa?
Well, it was very interesting in that it is it's my main meditation that I do, kind of. I didn't I also breathe through my feet and down into the planet, where I connect with the core, and to me it feels like a crystal, the core of the planet. And that's where um, I melt into my energies, into the planetary consciousness, and visualize that we are one consciousness. I just sort of sink into that. And then with that in breath, where I carry back my energy with the consciousness of the planet, and that comes into my body to, experience me, and then out to the pleroma for a swim. and this is where, and I like to spend a minute there for, like a float on your back and just be who I am, and then take that swirly deliciousness back into my body. And now I have the physical consciousness of the planet merged and swimming in the bubble of me. And then that is what projects from my heart out and all around me, and that is the visual that I bear witness to. So it was really fun because I got to do exactly, I mean, you guided me through my meditations that I do quite on the regular. It was really interesting. So, so that was fun for me that it was so familiar. And you added so much more to it. So I had a lot of fun with that. And at the end there, I was really surprised because I would normally see a lot of color now and sort of, I guess maybe my own attention and awareness would go to seeing, looking. But because I didn't do that stage, I had this, I had a feeling of being in the womb. And I want to cry to say that. I felt like I was in a fetal position for a minute. I just kind of felt sort of wrapped and ensconced, but in a very warm and lovely way. And it was black, but there was the beating of my own heart, but it made like a swoosh, swoosh, like in an ultrasound. And I felt like I was in a womb, and I heard, "You're in your womb." And I visualized sort of giving birth to myself. But anyway, I didn't have a birth scene experience. I experienced floating in the womb. And I just felt really, so delicious. And then every uh, few seconds, I want to say like contractions but it wasn't that um, timed or anything. I'd see, and it was very curious, a very bright light, like a pinpoint of light, start down here, like out of my field of vision, and come up and go around my field of vision and leave. And so anyway, that happened 3 times while I just felt like I was just swimming and floating and, enjoying the sound of your voice. And then you brought us back in such a tender and beautiful way. It just felt delicious. It was very lovely. I enjoyed it very much.
I have one question just related to what you pull your energy in, Lisa.
Pull my energy
Yep.
No, you're cool. I have one there. I have one question related to what you were saying. Do you Can you have a sense of either remembering or matching a feeling of what the last part where you were talking about in the womb, and when I had asked you to bring your consciousness, your eternal essence, whatever you would give it name to, through the back and through your shoulder blades and out through your heart. Would that line up with what you were talking about of all of a sudden feeling in the womb there? Or was that for a longer part of it?
It was for a little bit longer part of it. Because I lost track of what you were saying for a while as I was sort of having a large experience.
Good.
But I did hear you say that. I know that I was starting to track what you were saying again. So I did hear that.
The points of light. Were the points of light in there too?
I don't recall you saying points of light.
I didn't. No. I'm saying when you had mentioned the points of light that came through, you in a circular motion. I was just curious what I love to see what people
at the timing of that, you mean?
What their videos are playing, what their experience is. Just because I am curious.
Yeah, that I don't recall.
Well, I have a question for you, Lisa, about the light actually, because what you described is something very similar to what I've had, not all the time by any means, but it was some of my very first experiences with meditation on the whole. And then I don't have it all the time. And as a matter of fact, it hasn't come back for some time until just recently it came back again. And when you said that it swirls, I've had that too, something very similar in the very first time that that actually presented for me. It presented first as colored, like one was blue and I think maybe one red, maybe some purple. They were symbols that I don't recognize, that I couldn't ever get them to slow down fast enough for me to draw, but they came at me with a light very similar to what you're saying, but it was a swirl, only mine was, it was very clearly like a lighthouse where the light was making a swirl. I could see it going away from my vision, and then it would flash in front of my vision. It would go away from my vision, then it would flash, but only in my left eye when it began. And then it slowly moved over to the center of my vision. Is this something, would you?
Well, sort of, only mine just went completely around. So I could see it make a circle, that I could
Okay.
visualize a circle. But remember, I've been waking up with that. I've had it, I guess, a couple of times in the falling asleep, but mostly when I wake up, I notice it. I'm kind of sleepy. I'm about to open my eyes. It's before I open my eyes because they're closed. And it looks like what a photograph of an eclipse looks like, which is just sort of a black circle with a ring of light around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looks flamish to me because there's a bit of yellow, but it's white. It's very bright. It's hot. It feels
Right.
flamish to me. Yeah. So that's what
Okay.
that.
Interestingly,
Yeah, that's
Sheila, what you were talking about sounded like a beacon.
Yeah, it
And
did.
what Lisa just described sounded like a portal doorway. You're walking from one.
yeah.
Well, and then when I feel into that, I've gotten that I'm moving through portals. And what that means for me exactly, I haven't quite worked out. I don't know if it's a portal after a portal, or not quite sure what's happening there, but great change for sure, just going within me. And the more that, we play in this fashion, I like that we're doing this together, because I do this a lot, solitary. And what it's doing is it's helping me to remember to do these things, like to play with it helps me to, it gets me excited about it, because I'll see and notice more each time. And the more that I see, the more it compels me to see. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, wait a minute, if that fits in there, then, and the next, the minute I get a question answered, the next question then pops up. And so I continue to ask, and I continue to be shown. But the more time that you dedicate to that process alone, the faster you're going to have access to all that stuff. And it is coming on, like you said, I'm laying there realizing I'm looking through my eyelids. And so, I have done that now, played with it more and more, like taken that and even in the day, I've tried to do some of my chores or my tasks with my eyes closed. I was playing with watching a movie and crocheting without using my eyes on the yarn and the hook. And to me, that's all part of that. That's exercising my extrasensory perception, knowing that every part of me can sense things. And even though that's true, it's really useless if I've ignored it enough to atrophy, to the point of atrophy. And that's really where I'm at with it. So just realizing that, then these games feel like, therapy. I'm moving my muscles, and they're getting stronger.
Well, just because we don't know how to play with it, just because we don't know we actually have these gifts, or maybe we don't believe it or whatever, We're never
Right.
going to develop them if we don't play with them. So,
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So this is great fun.
Right.
One of
I
the
love
things
this,
that
Phoebe.
I nudge to bring forward right now, just as kind of a noticing, or maybe it's an answer to a question, formed or unformed, um, from part of my experience, is that so as I was kind of describing this and leading myself and all who were partaking through all of this, I had the awareness and the fully immersed in the leading through, right? So, and then the being led through, right? So do this, then I do that, and right. And part of what I chuckled, because the third piece in that moment was, and take note of that, because that would be something for others to notice, as a way that you could do this in a split second. You don't need to sit, you can sit down, eyes closed, and meditate for hours, or you can do it at work. You can do it standing in line waiting for something to happen. You can wait it on your on hold, waiting on the phone, right? Eyes open, paying attention. You can do it at work in the middle of doing something with your eyes open, sort of thing. So all of these things, because in 3 breaths of doing this, what it's charging up, taking all the gift that Mother Earth will give to you of energy, and building up your energy there. And the same thing when you're connecting, especially when you're running it from top to the bottom, right? It's energizing you. It's more than a meal. It's more, right? It's getting that, you're plugging into all of the unlimited energy. And you can do it in 2 or 3, you could do it in one, I imagine, breaths right in that moment. So at work, waiting to, well, maybe that doesn't happen a lot, picking up kids at school because they don't go to school, but there's anywhere you are, and it could be in your favorite chair, in your crystal room, all that kind of stuff, or it could be sitting on the porch, or waiting in your car, or standing outside, or halfway walking through. The point is that when we limit ourselves to where I don't have time, or I don't have that space, or I have to work, or it doesn't work, or whatever it is, then okay, because we're the expert for us. So we've just laid down the parameters of how it can or cannot work, right? Because each moment is the moment. So anything back there, remember, we're talking about, because this is how we're building we're in the new vibrational landscape. So we're popping into, from pre-matter templates into materialized touchable form, right? The new stuff. And we're not doing it by reaching back in from something else that's old. We're doing it from new.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
now for something totally different.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So Jennifer Brown seems to have had quite the experience here.
Oh, let's hear it.
She's shared with us throughout the thing here. She says, I feel pressure in the front and back of my head, neck, a buzzy sensation up my feet into the front of my legs. The wood is cold and smooth. Remember, she had the petrified wood.
Right.
Through my feet from Gaia, I connected with what I would describe as crystal energy. Through my crown, I felt a liquid ? Energy. And then she says, holy wow, so much data. Fawn shared that she could feel warmth going up her spine and into her third eye, and a warm glow around her crown. And that her body feels like she just woke up from a relaxing sleep. Jennifer said that she was able to connect with her crystal through her high heart in a way that she never had before. And that she also, like Fawn, she was agreeing with Fawn that she felt relaxed. Fawn said my eyes were closed and I could see a gold glow around my chakra. Jennifer said, that's funny. I'm not sure I totally came back in my body. I feel relaxed, but also like the connection is still open. And Fawn agreed with her and said same for her. And they both agreed that it's a lot of fun. Fawn said, like, I'm here, but in another dimension. Ashley Hurst shared that she feels really good and relaxed. Jennifer Brown said, I can't seem to describe it in that way, just the channel is still open. And they're both feeling totally relaxed. Jennifer Brown said it sounds sort of like remote viewing. Oh, like what I was doing, maybe what Lisa and I were experiencing. Uh, Fawn said that it kind of feels like a dream state. Yeah, like a total meditation session, a Zen feeling. I was feeling like floating in a warm pool of water. So very similar to you, Lisa. And she said everything seems brighter. Jennifer Brown said, I'm still getting messages, which confirms the connection is still open. Holy wow, having such an expansion. So,
So, couple
wow.
things. I think it was maybe it was foamed up at the crown, but that sounds feels like
Ah,
plasma lights coming in. And as far as the connection, that's you with you, holding with you, and it's always there. It's just we need to note it and play with it and
Call
be
it
with it.
forth. Yeah, pay attention. Give it our focus.
Yeah.
a much more, and that makes a lot of sense, BZ, a much deeper, well, actually wider, because I was just shown the the super highway, the our how it is that there's a space, what I keep being shown whenever I tap in or tune in to someone's field for intuitive reading is that, we talked about that amongst ourselves about how the communication superhighway in the physical vessel is the central nervous system.
Right.
And what I keep being shown is that highway is being widened
Yes.
to uh, and so
And it's also the highway to you, from you, within you, and
right.
all of you.
So as we so what I'm getting from this is that as I clear that communication channel of the debris that's still blocking the roadways, all the uh, old data, the misinformation, disinformation, programming, conditioning from all of that, as that gets cleared out, as I also at the same time um, get into alignment with myself, then that it's like all those little tumblers lock into place. So that communication superhighway is just not just locked and loaded, but at full open, you know,
Constantly streaming terabytes per nanosecond, and those are very, you know,
Yeah, unlimited data.
unlimited data
right.
constantly. But I want to bring attention to you and to all that you talked about clearing debris and stuff. You forgot some of the very big Jersey barriers that are yours that you put out. So it doesn't matter if you clear all the rest of it. And that is if you've had a thought before or you have a new one or repeated it, I don't know how to do that, or I can't do that, or I don't hear anything, or I'm not connected, or whatever your iteration of that is. Or even start before that and say, I'd like to have a conversation that's noticeable that I can understand in my linear brain now until I'm nuanced and right. It's the asking, because until that is initiated by you in the shirt, right? Until or you could go bigger and say, I set up my parameters that it's only crystalline light, it's only true source energy, it's only Christ light, however you want to frame that. And I want to be wide open now, no loss of memory, no disconnection, no nothing. Bring it, let's go. I don't need to slow. Just be prepared, because you know Shazam, if you say that. But,
Yeah, I'm
but
not
we have to
saying that.
start. We have to start with that.
I'm not saying that. I've decided I'm gonna trust me. I really have. I've decided I'm gonna trust that higher portion of me that I will get what I need to get when I need to get it. And I'm not, yeah. I used to
But what
feel
I'm
like
saying
that.
too is to ask, to say that you want that. You want to have that communication. Because oftentimes people think, well, they might experience this, or they might hear about this or something else, and they, oh, well, that's interesting. I don't get that. But if you then ask them, well, have you sat for a moment, however you would do it, and say, I would like to have that connection. Where I from, because it's always there. So if you want to, you can't. It's never not happening. But so much more the thing, I would like to notice that connection. I would
Right,
like to be, in an interactive flow with that connection.
right.
I desire to dial that up, and that's part of the debris field that needs to be removed.
Yep. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. Jennifer said, yes, BZ, feel a familiarity within the connection with my crystal friend that I've never experienced in this flesh. And then Fawn added, it feels like a connection of energy, and I still can hear you, but I'm still in another realm of being. Yeah, I kind of felt like that too, Fawn. Like I could hear your voice. I had no up here cognizant, couldn't tell you what you said, but I could hear your voice, but it
Yeah,
sounded, it
having a
felt, yeah, it felt like it was from another realm, like what Fawn was saying. Did you have that too, Lisa?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um,
So you're off surfing and playing and doing what you're doing, and you can hear, me talking from another.
Yeah, and actually sometimes it was it was great because like I could you were an anchor to the room too, like I could,
yes.
and you took me places that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. So that was kind of interesting. I mean, it was really delightful.
So you
That
were
was
you were surfing. Wee! Oh yeah, let me try to go over here. Okay, wee!
yeah, because you said something and yes. It was a bit of a ride.
Okay, so apparently Jennifer's laughing very hard. She said her whole family's probably wondering why she's laughing so hard. Because she said, I will be asking myself where Biden is currently. And Fawn said he's in the basement. So that's why they're
He's
laughing.
on the scene set in Maryland in the basement, not at 1600 Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
In Maryland, huh?
Wow. So this has really been very interesting on a whole lot of levels, BZ. And wow, I love this. So
This
did
was
anybody
fun.
else have any experiences you guys wanted to share? Please feel free. Or if you have any questions about what we're doing, because I see we have 14 folks in the room. Um,
And the other one thing I'd love to say is, does anybody now have a new feeling or thought or sense of how they might, um, use this reaching, connecting, opening the door, however you want, because people have said it language in different ways, any moment. So because here you right, here you are in a Zoom room. So it's not just your little space. It's not, just the right quiet. Someone's talking, and you're trying to focus on whatever you're focusing on. So right. But it means that you've used, now can use this application in a whole myriad of settings, on the move, right? Fast. So if you, going back to kind of where I started with the kind of the jolting juxtaposition, the headline, right? Come in. So grab a headline and do this in an instant, right? So here's your actionable intel. Here's your, your newsflash source, right? On whatever those things are. That's part of the play too, is to realize that these are incredibly resourceful, mission sensitive recon, what's next, I'm throwing in linear words or boots on the ground, how to navigate and work with these situations, because right now those who are awake to this, who are going on, who, because they're thinking, well, that didn't happen, or what's next, or when, or hurry up, or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
You're going to get all the answers to all your wantings. It's going to be, you're going to be saying, okay, slow down a little now, hang on, right, okay. And this is why these are tools, right? So this drops and this drops, and now you're seeing there's a need. Okay, that whole section of people just freaked out at that, or is this, or what do we do, or because you're all now going, okay, finally, yeah, hey, we know it's on now, right? But then you realize, okay, it's on, and now it's a lot, and oh my gosh, that's more, and I want to be of service, and I can see tangibly that person's freaking out, or that group of people, or that whole community, right. And so the ability to triage your own navigation system, your own center, your own knowing, your own data relay, your own download of information and upload of intel right live is going to be
Mhm.
very important. And then how to then interject that, whether it's someone right next to you, someone on the phone, someone in your community, someone digitally, whatever it is. And to, if you are playing in that role of digital soldier and all those different things, this is a way for you. You're on call is basically what I'm trying to say, right?
Well, I can see where what you've done here and this, the way that, especially in the very first piece, that was a very
Yeah.
it was a very visceral description, just example actually that you used in the very first beginning. And for me personally, it I feel it to it will become a tool of ultimate discernment for me. And here's what I mean. Okay, so I'm looking at that one of those headlines that you're just talking about, right? And I'm up here paying attention, all in intense. Um by then coming bringing it back in that moment and asking self about said whatever it is. And then because I've pulled myself back into my heart now, but this is how I'm seeing this as a tool for myself, a very, so
Powerful.
PPC alert, tool alert, quantum tool alert kind of thing here. Yes, I view this as a very powerful thing because and I, the minute I started feeling about this way, I also was reminded of what Jennifer and Fawn both said in regards to remote viewing, because also now I've pulled myself back into my heart. I'm ready to remote view this situation that I have that's put me into this reminding to pull myself back in. And from that place, hearing, asking these questions, now I'm ready. For me, I'm seeing this as a tool to use for that,
Mhm.
because the other portion that we did when we did the play, that was so much like a meditative thing for me. These were two totally different experiences. um the first portion that you used as the example is for me a very valuable tool that I would definitely use forward. And I know what you did there with the meditation, and you could take it further and go into that. But see, for me, in a quick situation, because like I said, you saw what happened. I shared what happened. My entire focus went bye bye. I couldn't tell you if there was some kind of I wasn't asking any questions. I wasn't, you know what I mean? In that state for me. So these are two very different, both highly, extremely powerful and useful things for me. But I can see where, and this is why it's a great example of how everyone will mold things. It's that DIY ascension piece for me, where you mold different tools to suit you and how it works.
I look at them as two part. This is the tool. Or you could use a multi tool, or right, or
Right.
or a Leatherman or whatever. This just happens to be a pen. But so one is I'm clicking on and off the data in the stream and clicking on, and I come back into me. And the other one of getting that information, of being fully ensconced in that breath, which is putting all of me and my sensory on. It's the same tool.
Yep.
So you can fully play in the Zen Om thing, or you can write, but
Right.
you can do it, and you can take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, couple hours, the whole day, a whole weekend retreat, whatever. You can do it in a split second.
Yeah.
That's their time is a construct.
Yeah. This was so helpful for me. A very powerful little
Yes.
play we did here.
Yes.
And the other
Wow.
thing I'll say is it was a way to show you what I keep talking about when you go sit on the rock for a minute,
Yeah.
right? So this
Yeah.
this is a word. We just did a whole experiential word picture of the shorthand of just sit on a rock for a minute. You're clicking,
Yeah.
all of you, into the moment, because things are not moving fast now. We're going to pick up even faster, at an accelerated clip of faster picking upness, and being needed to come forward. That's why, there's no mistake why everybody's here at this moment, and these are the moments coming forward. Because right now, everybody's just kind of waiting. Well, those who are awake, kind of waiting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It does feel like that a little bit.
And
Wow.
so, but the need to be there, to have experience, and to build up, because in furthering the unwinding and unbinding, in helping people get their own level, their footing, because back to your phrase there, how do you tell everybody they have to experience it? Well, the whole world is what happened, right? So you've got everything crumbling down, that's yay, and clearing that out, sorting it out, and then the aftermath of triaging and helping people with that. At the exact same moment, you're building everything brand new, because we're already in the new vibrational landscape.
Yeah.
So there's just a skosh of stuff going on.
Just a little bit. Yep. Well, I really love that you guys all participated. Brian Romstedt said my head is still vibrating. Jennifer Brown said she so loved this playtime and said, thank you for sharing with us, BZ.
Cool.
Yeah. Fawn said, you are like outer voices around me, but I'm still feeling like I'm in another dimension.
Cool.
That
Nice.
is. Yeah. That's really cool. Well, wow. This was really cool, BZ. I love it when you go on those walks and bring back new games to play
Yes,
with.
this
That's,
is nice. Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
You.
Well, do either one of you have anything you would like to add to this energetic envelope? And we are calling this game I love dot dot dot. Is that what it is? All right. I love. Well, and I love it.
I do too. And I love you.
I love you and you and you and you and you.
The collective you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that'll do us for another edition of the Gal Pal Posse live with an experimental game called I Love. And I really enjoyed this one.
Me too.
And Brian said to tell you he loves how you explain this, BZ.
Oh, good.
Awesome. It sounds like everybody had a lot of fun.
So keep
Powerful.
going, keep playing. That's what I would say is keep
Yeah.
playing, keep opening those doors, keep sharing how you're doing it, and you
Yeah.
take hours or just a nanosecond, and both are incredibly valuable.
Yep.
And we'll need both.
Powerful tool to access self more deeply, Jennifer said. Empowering was Ashley's comment there too. Well, awesome. Well, for any of you that have not already subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, I would love it if you would do so. In just a little while, there will also appear in the Show More section a link over to the IUV, which is BZ's blog and also BZ's channel. And I highly recommend, if you're already subscribed at Conscious Conversation Central, to go over and subscribe to BZ's channel, The Quantum Playground, as well, because she does videos that I don't have on my channel and vice versa. So make sure, he said, Brian said, too much energy. Oh my God, won't be able to sleep. Okay. Well, just go back in.
I feel a bit energized myself.
Do you really? Yeah, me too. Just a skosh, not gonna lie, just a skosh.
It's your new power bar.
Oh, there we go. Hey,
I love it.
I like that too. Wow, that's really cool. Jennifer is telling Brian that he'll have to meditate to relax now. And if you're watching this on BZ's channel, Quantum Playground, come on over and subscribe at Conscious Conversation Central. So tomorrow is Friday, and you just never know. Keep your dance cards open. Maybe we'll do an intuitive reading session tomorrow night. We'll see how the energy flies. But thank you, ladies, for coming to play tonight. And
thank you, everyone, for coming to join us.
Yes, thanks for everybody coming and hanging out. So till next time, choose joy. Mwah.